Okay, this is getting covered on the channel. This is just insane. This is just wizardry. Yeah. Who's that Wally banging on? Magnus this, Magnus that. Surely this can't be that great. Well, hang on a minute. Bear with me. Because this is truly astoundingly, insanely nuts. I haven't seen anything like this in a long time. Magnus Carlsen was playing white. It's titled Tuesday. 5th of March it was streamed, 6th of March today. His opponent here is a young international master, Joseph Girel, who finished 3rd in the entire thing if you want to know about the trajectory that he's on, and this game has everything. So Magnus opens with knight f3, the Reti. This is online blitz, clock times on the left. We get d5, very principled. Magnus goes g3, g6. Both players fianchetto, singing at the top of their lungs as they do so. We get castles, e5, d3 played, knight e7, leaving the eyes of the bishop open, knight b to d2, castles, and the main move in this King's Indian attack, as it's known for white, is e4. But Magnus doesn't play it, he goes rook b1. The sideline king, looking for some b4 action. So before he leaps, Joseph goes c5 here. a3 from Magnus, preparing, but a5. Joseph goes to Clamptown, population Magnus. You can still push it, but it isn't played. Magnus goes a4. Now it's a nice idea, taking control of b5. It's been weakened a lot, but not so great, because how long is it going to take to maneuver a knight there, right? Meantime, black developing and controls the center here. Look at this trio of dragons. Daenerys behind them, guiding the way. So Magnus goes e4, the principled move. He wants access to c4 for a knight. f6 now played, h6 also playable, taking control of g5. After rook e1, preparing bishop e6, not running into a knight g5. And now Magnus takes, activates the black knight, yes, but sinks his teeth into this juicy c4 square. Knight d to b4, great play. You want to go c3, but that is some tender stem broccoli on d3, not advisable. So knight f d2 played, opening up the bishop, very logical. Now we get rook c8, adding some defense. Knight e4 from Magnus, the pawn defended, and now here he goes wrong. The camel toe pawn formation here on the queen side gets into his head. What should Magnus do? Will b3 apparently best? Kind of steady and solid, but he jumps forward with the knight, kicks the rook into c7, and then goes c3. You know, the queen's been blocked out. Yes, it drives the knight back. Yes, he gets queen b3, hitting b6, but after rook d7, it's the black pieces that have improved the most, because the queen nicely covers the pawn with the knight. This one's now got to move. It's pressured twice, you know. So it comes back to e4, and now a move which is more beautiful than the day that David Howell tried to marry a chess piece in a small private family ceremony. Thankfully, an arbiter intervened. The ceremony never went ahead. Meanwhile, Vladimir Kramnik was off trying to adopt a baby king. The beautiful move that was played on the board here was knight d to b4. What a thunderbolt. I mean, this one's about to cave in. The computer says go bishop e3. Just let it drop, then slide the rook to the d file. But Magnus takes the piece, very principled. Look at the evaluation bar react. Black now killing it with rook takes on d3. And here's the problem. The queen can't stay protecting the knight. Wherever you slide to, let's say c2, this knight hops in and you just can't hold on. You've got to go somewhere, you know, e2, and then this bishop takes that one. What if instead you try knight c3, intercept the attack, hold the piece here? Well, now this one's attacked, so you can jump forward into d4. Queen goes, let's say here, to stay with the knight, but now the pawn takes. This one's collapsing. What do you do now? You know, if you move it to b5, well, then there's pawn b3. Intercepting the connection. This drops next move. It is brutal chess. Excellent tactics from Joseph Girel. So Magnus takes on e5 here. This is where he gives up the queen. Magnus Carlsen now giving queen odds to his opponent. I mean, he just blundered it, right? But the game is so far from over because he takes on c6, hits the queen, it moves, now b5 to cement that knight. The a pawn drops. Now we see knight c3 hitting bishop, defending b pawn here. So bishop back, rook moves, bishop b3, bishop e3 developing, f5 opening this g7 bishop, and h4, rook e8 on the board. Black destroying it, a queen ahead for 2 minor pieces. But what happens in this game is bonkers. So king h2 first played. Black's got so many good options. You know, takes here with the rook is a good one. Pawn captures, bishop takes, you win back your exchange, plus a pawn, but instead the bishop takes on c3. Not precise. Pawn captures back, and now bishop d5. None of these moves bad, black still majorly ahead, but things just turning slightly, especially now after the rook doesn't capture. The queen takes back, stepping into the fork town zone for this knight. Now you're here with queen and king. So bishop g5 played, rook e4, and Magnus lands a check. He wins an exchange. Black's still winning after these rooks come off, but it suddenly got more pressured, right? Nervous moments for the young French player. Queen f1 now the best move, hitting here, and b5, but not played. Sorry, after rook e6, now queen f1 best move. Instead, a4 on the board, running the a pawn immediately. But Magnus takes on b6. We get queen c2, going for the f2 pawn. Bishop e3 covers, a3, now rook a6 comes behind, a2, b6, queen b1 coming behind Magnus's pawn, but b7. And look what's going on. You can't make the queen or the rook's going to block. You know, take it, and if you take back, we get a queen of our own, piece ahead. You know what to do, right? There's a liquidation of pawns forced basically, and we end up here. Magnus famously said there's no such thing as a fortress, but good luck to black trying to break through here. So f4 threatened. If bishop captures, then the queen could take here if the rook had moved. But Magnus goes rook a4, covers this rank. We get h6, rook f4, the queen driven back, rook a4 back, queen d3. They're playing on the increment at this point, getting a second back per move. Rook a8 check, king f7, another check, the king driven forward, but this rook sneaks in behind. The king has to step back. Rook c7, the queen picks up this pawn, but Magnus gets one of his own, throws in a check first. Queen b2, h5, Magnus breaking up this trio of pawns here. It's like he's playing for the win, even though he's the one without the queen. Rook takes with check. Now it slides back. We get queen b7, rook a5, and now a horrendous blunder played by Joseph. He steps back with the king. Magnus is winning the game suddenly, but misses it. He could go here and just win the queen, but low on time, he picks up this pawn. We get king g8, a second pawn drops. You know, you couldn't hold on to it. Suddenly we're in a position, Magnus has got the minor piece, the rook, and 2 pawns. So reminiscent of his endgame grind against Nepo in the 2021 World Chess Championship Game 6. Can he get the job done here? King g2, king g6, this pawn starts rumbling. It's around here that this guy in commentary is going nuts, loving it. Okay, this is getting covered on the channel. This is just insane. How does he do this absolute insanity? This is just wizardry. So queen c2, Magnus starts edging up the board. He's just got to dodge the checks. He keeps the pieces nicely together, all protected, in and around one another, weaving a web, beautiful to watch. Endgame harmony. He's a goat at his best, doing his thing. Endgame grind. Look at these pieces edging their way up the board, and black's paralysed. You can't even give up queen for rook and bishop, go for a draw. The 2 pawns are too much. So king f6, Magnus checks. We get a few more nudgy moves. Is he going to make progress? Well, here comes the f pawn. It's completely winning now. You can go f7 already. The rook is x-ray defended by the bishop, but instead Magnus just wants to creep forward, right? He keeps everything together. That's what you do, low on time. We get a few more checks. Soon we're reaching the final position. 100 moves in, we get a check, and finally black has cracked because Magnus can now block the check in this position here. I was a few moves ahead there with a counter check. You know, he parries the jab, he hits with the right hook. Not only is his king now safe, but black's got to move the king, can't come to here, stop the baby girl, which has been in the delivery suite for a while. Here it goes. Now we see queen d5 to cover the check here, and Magnus delivers a check and mate. How does he do this absolute insanity, winning from a queen down? The Magnus effect, right? I hope you enjoyed this one, and if you want more game recaps, 3 on the way later in the Epic Chess community, then check out the link in the description below. Live with myself, ask questions, come on the mic. You're going to absolutely love it. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.